The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to John. Pilate asked Jesus, "Are you the king of the Jews?" Jesus answered, "Do you ask this on your own, or did others tell you about me?" Pilate replied, "I am not Jew, am I? Your own nation and the chief priests have handed you over to me. What have you done?" Jesus answered, "My kingdom is not from this world. If my kingdom were from this world, my followers would be fighting to keep me from being handed over to the Jews. But as it is, my kingdom is not from here." Pilate asked him, "So you are a king?" Jesus answered, "You say that I am a king. For this I was born, and for this I came into the world, to testify to the truth. Everyone who belongs to the truth listens to my voice." The Gospel of the Lord. So we are at the last Sunday of our liturgical year. Next Sunday is the first Sunday of Advent. We're a month from Christmas. And today we celebrate the feast of Christ the King, Jesus Christ the King. And that feast was set up, placed in the early 1900s by the church. So for 1800 years, we didn't have that specific feast. Basically, we see in today's gospel that Jesus didn't want the title king. In other instances, the people are trying to make him their king, and he doesn't want that, because he doesn't want things to be wrongly interpreted. He is not a king like our world's kings. His kingdom is so much different. And about 150 years ago, there's a philosopher and a theologian who lived in Denmark, whose name was Kierkegaard. And in one of his books, he made a little story. A little story about a king who fell in love with a peasant girl. The king knew that it was next to impossible for him to marry that girl. Kings never marry peasants. They always marry royalty. So he's king, she's peasant, and there's two layers of social classes in between them. There's the aristocracy and the merchants. In French we say bourgeoisie. So the merchant class, who are kind of the middle class between peasants and aristocrats. So he knew that he could not marry that girl because of their classes. But the king said to himself that he was so powerful that he could marry the girl and get away with it. That the aristocrats and the royals would not bother about that, would maybe be displeased, but would let it go. But then another thought occurred to him. Yes, he was in love with that girl. But if he married her and stayed king, what would their relationship be like? There would be something missing. That girl would always admire him as king, so would that really be love between the both of them? The gap was too great between them. She would always be conscious of the fact that he is royalty and that she is just a lowly peasant. So the king decided that he'd go on with another plan. He was so much in love with that girl that he decided he would resign his kingship and become a lowly peasant himself. Then he would offer his love to her as one lowly peasant to another. But as he was thinking of his plan, he realized that the situation could backfire on him. Maybe she was not in love with him. Maybe she didn't care at all about him. Maybe she would reject him. And how foolish it would be for him to have done all this to end up like that. To lose the woman of his life and to lose his kingship. What should he do? The story ends by saying that the king finally decided that he loved her so much that he would risk it. That he would risk everything to make true love between them possible. That's how he ended the story. We don't know if the girl said yes or no. We don't even know if it's a true story. In any case, it is a nice analogy, a nice comparison to what Jesus did. We can think of it as Jesus being that king and us, humanity, each and every one of us, being that peasant that the king falls in love with. And Jesus giving up everything to become one like us, coming into the world to live our humanity, to give himself completely for us, and most especially on the cross, so that we could hear his love, because he's connected with us, and decide on that love. What is our answer to God's love? What is our answer to him asking us to be one with him? This is what this feast should call us to, remind us of. We are called to be in that kingdom with God forever. That's the call. What's our answer? He's asking us to be his disciples, to be one with him, to be his sons and daughters. He wants to enter so much of a communion with us that he'd be one with us like he is one in the Trinity. What is our answer? And as we reflect on this feast of Christ the King, as we are getting closer and closer to celebrate Christmas, where he came, where he on this earth, where he got a body like us, became a human being like us. What is our answer to his love? Do we hear his voice? Do we realize that he is the truth? Do we follow him? Let us reflect on that, and let us ask his Holy Spirit to inspire us, to guide us to him, to his love, to his truth, to be with him.